don't be afraid to switch the style up. And I'm not saying that to you today because it's cool or fun to say or because 50 Cent said it or whatever. I'm saying that because that's what the masters of creativity have done. Let's look back at an example from Pablo Picasso, right? Over here, I'm gonna have his first big breakout work, which is La Vie. It's blue, it's beautiful, it's contoured, it's pretty. And then I'm gonna go over here with his second big work, which is Les Demoiselles d'Avignon, which I'm sure I butchered the pronunciation of, but look at the difference in these two things, right? It's crazy to think about how juxtaposed these are. Why? Because Pablo Picasso was not afraid to do exactly whatever he felt like, exactly whenever he felt like, because my man was an artist. And I read this quote from him and I love it. I had to share it with you guys today. And it's, do not expect me to repeat myself. My past does not interest me. Some of you right now are watching this video and I know you're scared or you're afraid to change something because maybe something else has worked in the past, or you're afraid of what someone else might say about your new stuff. But listen, my man Picasso did it, and if it's good enough for him, it's probably good enough for you. This week's question of the week is from Kayla, and Kayla asks, I started my journey writing Ben Hardy type viral articles, but my writing soul has now pointed toward a poetry or emotional style of writing. I'm having trouble bridging the gap. Kayla, this is an awesome question, and I wanted to bring it up because everybody struggles with this, right? Like, we all have different feelings at different times. It's part of what makes us artists so good at what we do. I want to point out a couple of things. One is that there's a difference between marketing for your stuff and the actual stuff. And the twist to that is that can both happen on the same platform. So I know you write a lot on Medium, so if you're doing like a viral type article, that doesn't mean you can't also write poetry. It just means that one is for one purpose and the other is for another purpose. My best example of this ever is John Green, right? Because he was on Twitter, he was on YouTube, he was on Tumblr, making those platforms exist and pumping tons of content into them and connecting with fans and things like that. He writes romances for teenagers. Is that all he does online? No, of course it's not. He finds the balance between the two to engage with people who might want to read his other stuff. I think that's the key. You can write the viral articles so long as they're leading people to your other stuff and you're clear about that. The second person I want to talk about is T.S. Eliot. And in his writing career as a poet, he was also writing doctorate work. He was studying philosophy. He was doing accounting at one point. And he had all of these projects that didn't have anything to do with what his legacy actually is. So I think you have to work both sides. Follow your heart, follow your soul, but also don't be afraid to do what works when it comes to getting people to your stuff. For this week's Artist Spotlight, I want to go back to where the episode started, in Pablo Picasso. And I learned 3 things about my man lately that I want to share with you today. And the first is he was a prodigy. He created so many works of art because he started so early. Probably age 9 is the first documentation we have of his drawings and paintings. And he's even rumored that his first word was lapis, or pencil. The second thing I learned about him is that he did an insane amount of work even as an adult. You know, we get this feeling that sometimes masters are just masters and they slow down as they get old and they don't do as much work. But Pablo Picasso was said to do 300 paintings a year, even in his older age. He was cranking this stuff out, and probably that's why he was able to do what he did at such a high level. But the last thing I learned about him is something I really want to harp on here, and it hits at my core philosophy of who I am. He was kind of a horrible person. And there are probably plenty of reasons for that, which we can get into, later on the show. But the evidence points to the fact that Pablo Picasso discarded human beings. And even in his biography, he's known as saying, "You see the dust that's floating through the window? People are like that to me, and I brush them away with a sweep of my hand." And so the question I ask whenever I face something like that is, do I want to be a great artist, or do I want to be a great human being? Even if that never means I blow up. I would rather positively affect the life of 4 or 5 people than 100,000. So Mad love to Pablo Picasso, but I kind of wish you had been a better dude. That's it for episode 64 of Finish Friday. Before you go, answer this week's Ask the Audience. Have you bought The Creative's Curse yet? My book is on sale this week, and you can pick it up in the link below. I would love to know if you've got it yet. If not, what are you doing? Tell me why you haven't gotten it yet. Once more, I'm Todd B from Tennessee. Don't forget to thumbs up this show if you liked it, and I